Okay, we have Melissa and Chris, and they're just going to share with us what took place on the marriage retreat weekend down in Branson. Okay. Just relax.
Our marriage got to a place, and I don't know how it got there, but I just felt fed up and I was done. And that's why we went on the first retreat, because I just wanted to escape. And then after we spent some time on that retreat, we thought we need to bring our husbands back, because we can't be the only ones that are suffering this way. They have to be frustrated too. So
remember, we were going to tie, if we had to tie him to the top of the car.
Yes.
We had Darla to hog tie him.
We're going to hog tie.
Well, they actually came. They came down because we fasted, begging God, please bring our husbands down. And they did. And it was incredible, because immediately God did something. Everyone opened up. We really worked on the honor in our relationship, which was something we hadn't been told or talked to before. And there have been great changes, I think.
We've been married 14 years, and it's been a good marriage, but no marriage is perfect. And our relationship is good and strong, but we had drifted apart in our hearts a bit, such that we weren't sharing the way we should be. We weren't a couple the way we should be, and not just two people next to each other, but with our hearts fully entwined and enjoying the love that God wants us to have in our marriage. And the weekend, God showed up and worked on us, each one of us, every one of us, I believe.
Yeah.
And did some really powerful things and brought us much closer than we were in a lot of ways that we weren't. I don't think we went looking for the things that we found. And it's great. Just that we hadn't been fully honest with each other. We hadn't opened up our hearts to each other to the point that we should.
I never really opened up my heart the way I should.
Yeah.
And so that gave us the opportunity
we both
to
share.
Pray and share and open our hearts to each other.
And only God can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good. Thank you, guys. Okay. Joe and Wendy, what took place in your all's marriage?
Like everybody else, we had some issues as well in our marriage. And, I believe it was Wednesday morning. Wendy asked me, hey, this weekend we're going to go out to the cabin. I want you to go. Actually, it was more told me I was going to go, take the time off work. Anyways, not only did she tell me I was going to go, but she asked me to start praying and to fast. So something great in our marriage should happen. I was a smoker, so cigarettes was more important to me than food. And God told me that I needed to give up to smoking for that week, my fast, and to see a breakthrough and freedom in our marriage. And, we had our issues in our marriage, and one thing that really healed my heart was cutting ties. Cutting ties is pretty much, or severing ties, is just pretty much asking the Lord to heal your heart, take what the other person has taken from your heart and give back to them and forgive them. And after that night, after doing that,
of other relationships that you've had besides your wife, yeah.
And not
sexual or non-sexual.
Sexual or non-sexual, just people that I was bitter at, or just,
Yeah.
And it really freed me. And,
Yeah.
And so I gained that out of that weekend, and not only did I gain that, but one thing I also asked God for that weekend was to be more of the man in the family. My wife is probably more the leader in our family, and I just want to take more of that role and take it from her. And I'm on that path.
Cool.
And how long have you been smoke-free?
A month now.
Woo!
1 month today.
Woo! Today?
Today.
Oh, wow. And Wendy, what about you?
Well, for me, to answer your question, I had failed my husband, and not only once, but the betrayal was more than once. And he had forgiven me, but it was something that was never talked about. I knew he had forgiven me, but I still carried the shame. I could tell everybody I mean, close, like my friends, that I had been forgiven and that I, had gotten past it, but I hadn't. And that weekend, when we started to sever ties, and you had said any emotional attachment, any tie that needed to be severed. I'd been sexually abused, and that was something I'd never done, is sever the ties from those people that abused me. And I began to call out those names and sever those ties and give back what they had taken and receive back what had been taken from me, and call out all the people that I had those attachments to. And I couldn't believe that, because when you said for us to do that night, I was in the flesh like, oh my gosh, I have to name out, he doesn't know, or what's he going to think? And I did. I worried, because I was like, and I had more than him, so dang. And so we began to do that. We began to do that, and I literally felt the freedom. Like, I felt the release. There was a release. And right after we did that, you said that you felt for us to move into, washing of feet.
Oh, yeah,
And,
we did that, didn't we?
Before we did that, we just held each other, and I just cried and cried and cried, because for the first time, God showed me, you've never been able to receive from your husband the love he has for you. Never. I was never able to receive from him, ever. I could never, and I always used to say, my husband loves me more than I do. I just don't understand it. That's just the way it is. I don't get it. And for the very first time, I was feeling the love that I had never felt. Wow. And it was just the most incredible. So to say that if you ever fall, you can't, be redeemed and pursue what God is. Absolutely not, or we wouldn't be here today. Absolutely not.
And I like what you guys are saying in the kitchen, that now you guys can talk, and there's no shame. You're
there's
able.
no shame. We would never have talked about our past. And we got into a big argument recently. Of course, it was an amazing weekend, but let me tell you, Satan was like, ha ha, you're back. And so we came back home and had just a terrible fallout. And he went to work, and he stopped on the way to work to buy cigarettes. He was like, whatever, I'm going to start smoking again. Bought the cigarettes, but he called me at home. I called and asked him to forgive me for being such a nice wife that morning. And he said, if you see the debit 482, I stopped and bought cigarettes, but I didn't smoke them.
I left them on my seat, and I just stare at them. I was driving into work. Pick them up, put them back down. And,
The Holy Spirit, he recognized
it was kind of like a little cartoon, sitting on your side, and an angel over here saying, just go ahead and smoke it, open it up, make you feel better. And, guys over here, just, it's been too long, you don't need it no more, look away. So.
That morning, I literally rose up and I said to him, you gotta throw them away. It would be like me standing next to a guy I had an affair with and saying, oh, but I'm not tempted, it's fine. And then he was like, dang, did you have to be so strong? Did you have to go that deep? I'm like, no, that's your weakness. You got to throw them away. Get rid of them quickly. I hung up the phone and I thought, oh my gosh, Lord, I cannot believe I just said that to my husband. I am free. I am free. There is no shame attached. And we talked about it when he got home, and I'm just like, gosh, finally we're at a place where we're free. There's no shame. We are a testimony, a living testimony of God's absolute greatness.
Cool. Good job. Yay, God.